What up, y'all? Tina here. So recently, there's been a lot of discussion about recasting T'Challa. Now, Jeff Sneider got all this cooked up because he heard the scoop around Hollywood is Marvel is looking to recast T'Challa, but an actor has turned the role down. Listen, I don't claim to be no insider either, right? But I do know some people who know some people. So I made a few phone calls, sent some text messages, jumped in a couple DMs, and I've heard that 2 to 3 people have shied away from this role and other recast roles that's kind of been presented out to these people. There's also at least 2 men right now ready to be T'Challa. Now, the question is that going to be T'Challa or the aged up T'Challa, Toussaint, or a variant? That's where things get muddy because there's 2 different situations going on right now. And I think a lot of people like reporting on this, like the Jeff Sniders in the world, they're not so invested into the comic book side because Jeff Sneider is not a comic book snooper. Jeff Sneider is a former journalist who has contacts and he hears things, so he may get terminology messed up at times.
And again, I'm not well versed in, well, technically it could be T'Challa 2 or to Jones Soda or to Soda. There's so many, that's what I heard immediately after that post. It was like, well, it could be this version and that version. This, I don't fucking know.
But like I said, right now, there's 2 situations going on. Where we stand at today, Ryan Coogler is actively writing his story, and that story involves T'Challa, Toussaint. You also have the Russo brothers working on Doomsday and Secret Wars, and allegedly this is why things are flaring up for T'Challa. The Russos are looking for a Black Panther. We've already heard that Chris Evans is coming back, maybe. We know for sure RDJ is coming back. And the Russos want a version of T'Challa to tell their story of Secret Wars, which is based off of the Jonathan Hickman run. They have said this probably 6-7 years ago. This has always been the plan. Even before they brought the Russos back in, Marvel had already kind of got in touch with Hickman and worked the deal out. So this was always gonna happen. I think there was always gonna be a T'Challa variant showing up when you have a story dealing with the multiverse. So let's get into the actors who's turned the role down and the actors who do want to be T'Challa. All right, on good merit, I have heard from 2 separate people that Damson Idris has 1000% been in conversation with Marvel in 2024. Now, the kicker is, I don't know if Damson has been in conversation with Marvel about T'Challa, but they said he has definitely met with Marvel. He is the person I think Jeff Sneider is talking about who may have declined the offer. Because where it stands at the moment, what else are you talking to Damson Idris about? Brother Voodoo? No. So it had to be T'Challa. Damson also went out for Jon Stewart, but obviously he lost that role to Aaron Pierre, and he's possibly going to be in Children of Blood and Bone as Ylan, possibly starring side John Boyega. Filming is supposed to start first quarter of this year, and Gina Prince by the Wood is directing that. So Marvel and DC has both been in contact with Damson and his people, 1000%. Second person I heard is John Boyega. John Boyega was informally asked for the Kang recast on social media as everything was going on. And we all saw his reaction was, nope, heck nah. I've also heard on Good Merit, he was asked about T'Challa as well, and he declined. And it has nothing to do with money or the MCU. He just kind of feels funny about Disney. Now, there is a third person. I asked a separate source, and they refused to tell me who the person is. This source talked to this actor in person. They asked, hey, would you be open to playing T'Challa? And the person in so many words said, nope, that role is for Chadwick. They completely declined and they said, nope, not doing it. Now, the source will not tell me who this third person is. We kind of laughed about it in the DMs, but based off my own little research and some digging around, I think it was David Oyelowo. Now, the source would not confirm nor deny it, but I'm 75% sure it was David, and he was one of those people who did not, in so many words, want to step into Chadwick's shoes. Now, David is a little on the older side, so he definitely could have been an older, mature variant for sure, but he was like, nah, he kind of shied away from it. Now, let me tell you something. Money talks. And if Marvel circles back with the right price, you might see one of these people as a variant to T'Challa. Things do change. Now, 2 people who are ripe and ready to take this role is Aldis Hodge and Noel. They both have vocally stated, I'm down, get Marvel on the phone to call. So they are going to find somebody to take this role. I think a lot of Black actors would be more open to taking this job if they knew it would lead to a permanent position within the MCU. I think this current T'Challa role is being pitched as a variant who may do 1 or 2 movies, and most actors are like, nah, especially somebody like Damson. He's probably like, why would I waste my one potential role with Marvel on a one and done variant? So I can believe actors are saying no to this role. I think a lot of black men actors saw how Jonathan Majors was handled and John Boyega, and I think some of them are a little hesitant to take these jobs unless the circumstances is right with Disney. Now, we know for sure people are meeting with Marvel frequently. That's how we found out that Giancarlo Esposito met with Marvel for Classic Loki and was like, nah, I ain't trying to do that. So it's not abnormal for people to say no to Marvel. I want to wait on the right role. It happens. I think sometimes we look at Marvel as like, no one would ever say no to you, but people turn Marvel down all the time. Colman Domingo has met with Marvel and they asked him what role did he want. Kang was mentioned. He said absolutely not. That was John's thing. He didn't want no parts of it. Coleman is on record saying he told Marvel, bring me something good and I'm down. So I wouldn't be surprised if he shows up somewhere in the MCU in the future. I can see him being Mr. Sinister because he says he wants to be a villain. Now, when you get to talking about Coogler's T'Challa or T'Challa, no casting news for that is out right now. I do think he's at home writing a story and trying to figure out a way to get this kid aged up. Now, when Ryan Coogler gets on the horn and starts calling these black men for T'Challa Jr. or Toussaint, I think they may feel more safe and secure with Ryan Coogler. He has a reputation of taking care of his cast and taking care of all his people on the production side. And all this stuff is just interesting, man. I haven't heard John David Washington being mentioned at all. But I mean, I'm sure he's in the fold somewhere. If Denzel is in the fold, which I think Denzel's thing is very informal right now, like him and Coogler have kind of talked off of the record. I don't think he sat and met with Marvel yet. But I would not be surprised if John David Washington is being mentioned somewhere for a role. I'd actually be cool with him being Blue Marvel. I just don't want John David as T'Challa. I'd be okay with Blue Marvel. My picks for T'Challa was always Yaya Mateen, Aldis Hodge, Mr. Noel, or Trevante Rose. That's who I'm rocking with. Now, we have to X Yaya off because he decided to do Wonder Man. Why he decided to go with Wonder Man, I don't know, but I might have to eat these words. Wonder Man might actually turn out to be good, and I might be like, okay, Yaya, you did a good thing, but why he just ain't wait for T'Challa? So to wrap all this up, when it comes down to potential recast for T'Challa, John Boyega for sure said no. Damson has 1000% met with Marvel. We think it was him who shied away from the role. I think this is the person who Jeff Sneider is referencing in his article. There's a third person who informally said no based off of some digging. I think it was David Oyelowo. Colman Domingo, he's been talking with Marvel, but he wants his own role. He don't want to play no type of recast. Aldis Hodge and Mr. Noel want to be T'Challa. They are ripe and ready. They just waiting on Marvel to make the phone call. And I think we need to keep pushing and advocating for these two men because they have publicly verbalized they want to be T'Challa. They are not scared to put those Panther claws on and carry the legacy on like Chad would have wanted to. So leave your comments below. Who do y'all think would be a good recast for T'Challa? Thanks for hanging out with me. Peace.